Time is 9 o'clock.
NBC Radio News on the Hour, brought to you by Wynn's friction-proofing products to correct and prevent car trouble from radiator to gas tank. Now here is Edwin Newman, NBC News.
An Indian Air Force helicopter crashed today in Kashmir, and 5 senior officers in the Indian Army and Air Force were killed. One of the dead was Chief of Operations of the Indian Air Force. In South Korea, 9 Koreans have been killed and 9 injured while gathering scrap metal on a United States Army firing range. The Koreans had been spotted before the firing and warned to leave by leaflets dropped from a helicopter, but apparently hid in bushes and caves. Then they rushed out to gather pieces of an Honest John rocket that was fired, counting on half an hour before another went off. Instead, it came a few minutes later, and the Koreans were caught. The incident took place yesterday. The new government in South Vietnam has relieved 31 high-ranking military officers of their commands and placed them on indefinite leave without pay. All 31 are believed to have been favored under the regime of President Diem, and all are to be investigated. In the meantime, they are not permitted to take other jobs. More news after this from Wynn's Friction Proofing.
Carefree driving begins with a can of Wynn and a can of Wynn. Today.
Maybe it happened this morning. You got into your car, started the motor, and heard an annoying clatter under the hood. That's the sound of sticking hydraulic valve lifters. And those sticking lifters can cause serious engine damage if allowed to continue unchecked. But there's a fast, easy way to free them. Just add a can of Wynn's Engine Tune-Up to your crankcase. Wynn's Engine Tune-Up is guaranteed to free sticking hydraulic valve lifters within 10 minutes driving time or your money back. What's more, Wynn's Engine Tune-Up contains Wynn's Friction Proofing to help keep valve lifters working smoothly once they are free. So to free noisy hydraulic valve lifters, ask the man to add a can of Wynn's Engine Tune-Up wherever you get gas or service.
So add a can of Wynn today.
Here again, Edwin Newman.
The Chancellor of West Germany, Ludwig Erhard, has finished 2 days of conferences with President de Gaulle of France. Here's a report on what they accomplished from Bernard Frizel, NBC News, Paris.
West German Chancellor Ludwig Erhard is now winding up his 2-day visit here, and French and German spokesmen are trumpeting the cordiality and mutual understanding of his discussions with President de Gaulle. But no responsible source has yet suggested that the differences in French and German policies have been straightened out. Some small progress appears to have been made toward a gradual approach to a common European grain price, which is what the Germans prefer. But with Erhard on his way to Washington on Sunday to see President Kennedy, he has maintained his view favoring an integrated NATO nuclear force with reliance on American protection against any communist aggression and an intimate Atlantic alliance, none of which President de Gaulle finds particularly enchanting. This is Bernard Frizel, NBC News, Paris.
President Kennedy, on the second day of his tour of Texas, has speeches scheduled today in Fort Worth, Dallas, and Austin. After the Austin engagements, the President and Mrs. Kennedy will fly to the ranch of Vice President Johnson and stay overnight. Sometime today, Mr. Kennedy will telephone congratulations to former Vice President John Nance Garner at Uvalde, Texas. This is Garner's 95th birthday. The Navy may try today to bring up the wreckage of the U-2 plane that crashed into the Gulf of Mexico on Wednesday morning after an observation flight over Cuba. The search is still on for the plane's pilot, Captain Joe Hyde, Jr. of La Grange, Georgia. The Congo government last night deported to Brussels one of the Russian embassy officials arrested on Tuesday. The Soviet news correspondent arrested yesterday has been released. Edwin Newman, NBC News, New York.
Bless you. Now that the cold and flu season is here, be sure you always have Bayer aspirin handy to relieve pains and reduce fever fast. Then when symptoms strike, remember these 3 steps doctors recommend. Rest in bed, drink plenty of fluids, and take aspirin to reduce fever and relieve pain. If there are youngsters in your house, get orange-flavored Bayer aspirin for children, too. Bayer is the best.
This has been NBC News on the Hour. Listen again on the Hour for NBC Radio News, brought to you by Bayer Aspirin. Al Cappis monitors talking cartoonist weekends on the NBC Radio Network.
Yum, 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 Hussman's potato chips. Try some Hussman's potato chips. Do it today.
Hussman's potato chips, the most snack-satisfying chip on the market. Just right for meals or in between snacks. Always fresh, always crisp, always delicious. Hussman's potato chips. WLW, Cincinnati. The guests on today's program appear in exchange for advertising or promoting the groups or events with which they are associated. Prizes awarded on this show are furnished to us in exchange for advertising. From McAlpin's Tea Room in downtown Cincinnati, WLW presents The Good Morning Show, starring Bob Braun. Good morning.
Good morning. A very special time of day when we say good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. We know that everything's okay when we say good morning.
And I say good morning.
A happy good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, it's a happy good morning from McAlpin. This is Bob Braun here with the Good Morning Show, along with the Lucky Pennies here today. Thank you very much. All right, take it back to her now, Stan. All right, yeah, we'll do that later. The Lucky Pennies are here along with Penny West, and we'll have a good program today. Plus, we have a double audience today. Did you know that, Dean?
I don't know, but they certainly look nice.
Yeah, they
Very
sure
nice.
do. Well, the reason I say that, we have with us today the Mothers of Twins Club from out in the Westwood area, Western Hills area of Cincinnati. I don't know why I say I lived in Westwood, that's why, and I think I still owe them a month's rent. I guess it's a thing I've never been able to get over. Let's talk to the Mothers of Twins back here. See, we moved out in the middle of it. Did I ever tell you that story?
Would you please?
When we got married, my wife and I, she and her mother and dad had lived in a house all their lives, and most of my life, my mother and dad had a house too, and we were not apartment dwellers. You know, it takes a certain kind of person to be able to live comfortably and compatibly in an apartment, right? Well, we rented an apartment out in Westwood. Yeah, we were lucky. Yes. It was in the lower rent district of Westwood, not in the high rent district. But anyway, I walk rather heavily when I walk because I have big feet and I clomp around. And Regine was always saying, shh, you're bothering the people downstairs. And I used to take one shoe off and drop it and let them worry. When's the next one going to drop? For hours you wait down there. But anyway, I used to teach weightlifting when I was a kid in school and going to college and studying announcing and everything. And I had a set of barbells in my house, in my room. And every time my wife and I would go home, my mother would say, if you don't get those barbells out of here, every time I clean that room, I stub my toe. So Regine and I were over there one night, and we stayed about till midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning with Mom and Dad, and she made me bring them home that night. And I put them in the back of my car, and the garage was underneath the house. And when we parked there, I didn't want to leave them in the back of the car because I was afraid it would bother the springs to have those weights in the car all night. So I got them out of there. And you know what barbells look like, right? They got things on each end, and there are little locks on there to hold the barbells on. So at 1:30 in the morning, I'm going through the basement and just ready to go up the steps to go up to the first floor. We lived on the second floor of this apartment building, and all of a sudden, the lock on one end let loose. And 150 pounds of iron went clang, boom, crash, bang, boing, all over. And have you ever heard like a pie plant going, and finally stopped? Well, the 125-pound weight did that, like that. And I heard the pitter-patter of little feet upstairs. And so help me as I stand here, the people who lived under us moved at 8 o'clock the next morning. That's true. And the following afternoon, we moved. We lived there less than 4 months and ran 3 people out downstairs. That's a fact. That's true. And I wonder, if those people really knew, or know now, that I'm on television and stuff and really know that I'm the one. They probably tell that story. We lived under some young guy and his wife. Of course, that was years ago, you know.
They probably tune in just to tell everybody.
Oh, probably so.
All their friends.
Yeah. I knew him when he, that sort of a thing.
Yeah,
right?
no wonder he's so loud on television and radio.
Who is loud? What do you mean, Penny? You come in here insulting me this
What
way.
did I say?
Oh, nothing.
Excuse me, Bob.
You don't
I was
have
just merely mentioning what people would say.
Yes, what people
Who
would
had
say.
lived
you
under
weren't
you.
saying what you would think yourself.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Never.
all right. Very good. We got that straight now, haven't we,
I like
Penny?
to work here, Bob.
Oh, good. So do I, Penny. That's the way I look at it. We have mothers of twins. You don't have twins, do you?
No, we don't have.
No, ours came one at a time, too. But you don't know. You can't tell. How many are in the group here today? You're in the group. You have twins?
Yes.
How old are your twins?
Years old.
And
7.
Your name?
Mary Wood.
Oh, really? Read your column all the time, Mary, baby. Yeah. I bet you get a lot of calls about that, don't you?
Surely.
When they agree with her and disagree with her, you hear about it, huh?
Yes.
Where do you live, Mary?
Up in Green Glen behind Western Hills High
How many children do you have?
5.
And, of course, 2 of the 5 would be the set of twins, and they're 7 years old.
7.
When did you find out that you were about to have twins?
Oh, about 4 months ahead of time.
Doctor said to you one day, Mary, I have news for you. How did you react to that?
I dropped the telephone.
You mean he told you by telephone, huh?
After X-rays.
Oh,
yes.
after I didn't know they could do that while you were expecting. They could take X-rays.
Well, they do to determine
If you really are going to have twins or not, huh? What did your husband think of this?
He wasn't talking very much at the time.
How many children did you have at that time?
Well, 3.
Oh, these are the caboose or kabai, I guess it would be the plural cabooses, huh?
No, we have one after.
Oh, you have one after that, too. Hello there. How are you, sweetheart? Good to see you. You have twins? How many other children do you have? You have 4 altogether, huh? And do you have twins? That's all you have, though. Kind of a piker, aren't you? Huh? That's what's called getting it over with in a hurry, huh? Have both of them I'm sorry, Mary. What's your name?
Margie Beller.
How old are your twins?
15 months.
I thought they must be awfully young because you look young yourself. When did you find out you were going to have twins?
After I came out of the anesthetic.
Boy, what a surprise. Oh, I know what a feeling that is, not only for you, but what about your husband standing there by the elevator and the nurse comes out of the elevator with both arms full? Wow. Yeah, is that what you thought?
That's what my husband thought when the doctor carried 2 out. He never thought they were his because we had 4 before that.
And that made 6.
That made 6 and 1 next year again.
I'm kind of glad all of you are here today because you make terrific customers for our White Villa stores, with all those children. Holy smoke. Let me ask you, there are, of course, many problems raising twins, and you really have the problem of having 2 of everything. Are there any particular problems you could tell us about that you've had with your young twins?
Well, they fight an awful lot. I mean...
Yeah, well, that happens. One of mine is going to be 7 and the other's going to be 3, and they fight an awful lot, too. Yes?
They team on you.
They team on you? In what respect?
Oh, well, there's 2 minds instead of 1, and they work against you and with them.
Are they identical twins?
Yes, mine are 14.
They're 14 years old now, huh?
Yes.
I see. What's your name?
Hazel Mills.
What are their names?
Brenda and Linda.
Brenda and Linda. I bet you got some cute names. Who named their twins names that don't sound alike? Some do Brenda and Linda, Ned and Ted, and I went to school with some boys named Ned and Ted Clyer who were twins. What did you name yours?
Julie and Mary.
And how old are they?
They'll be 2 in January.
When you went to name them, or when you decided to name them, what made up your mind for you?
I didn't know I was going to have twins, and I threatened before they were born. I wanted to use the name Julie, and my husband felt that his mother would feel left out because it's my mother and grandmother's name. So I told him I'd have Mary, Ella for his mother, and Julianne for my mother.
You got it all over with
I got
it. But you didn't know, like Mary Wood, you didn't know.
No, I didn't know till they were born.
Very interesting. This is an interesting club. How often do you girls meet at the Twins Club? What do you do in your meetings?
Oh, we have speakers, and then we have discussions, and different things.
Did any of you take advantage of some of those deals where if you buy one crib and you later have twins, they give you another one free? You have to buy so much or you don't get it. I was wondering about that because it's about time for us to be thinking about those things, you see. Yes.
I hope you think like we did. We had 2 boys. And with the third one, everybody said, well, you got 2 boys, you'll have a third boy. So we had 2 girls.
Oh, boy. Honey, turn off the radio if you're at home. Just forget you even heard this whole show today. We'll have a lot of fun on the Good Morning program today. We have some nice gifts for you. I did mention White Villa, and in yesterday morning's Inquirer, they had their big Thursday ad. And in there, if you read that, you would have seen by now the complete line of things for Thanksgiving Day. They have everything at your neighborhood independent White Villa Market that, of course, will fill that Thanksgiving table for you. The pineapple, the beans, they have the cranberry sauce. Got a special on that, too, just in time for Thanksgiving. You can get 3 cans of White Villa strained cranberry sauce. This is the kind you take out of the can and can slice, and it tastes very good with turkey or chicken. And 3 cans for 59 cents. Just one of many fine specials. And believe me, at that neighborhood independent market called White Villa, the one that's owned by your neighbor just down the street, if you take your total food budget down there, you'll save money and also you'll get top quality merchandise.
White Villa, famous foods.
You will be enticed by budget priced. White Villa, famous foods. The quality's there, variety to spare. Try White Villa, famous foods.
I guess I should get to the question of the day, but I like to have music before we get into that on the Good Morning Show, so I'll tell you what we'll do, fellas. Penny, you can put down some of your groceries over there, and while Penny's getting set to sing this, I'll remind you, since we're talking groceries, that Partridge brand hams made by the H.H. Meyer Packing Company in Cincinnati also are delightful for a holiday table, too. A lot of people don't buy turkeys, but rather have ham for Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter time, and if you do that, just look for the name Partridge brand. That's the semi-boneless ham, and with Partridge on the label, you know that's the very best your money can buy. Packaged by the H.H. Meyer Packing Company right here in Cincinnati. It's Partridge brand ham. And speaking of ham, no, that's a terrible introduction. Here's Dean Richards and his Lucky Pennies.
Billy Gumbo. 'Cause tonight I'm gonna see my share of meal. Then guitar, filthy jar, and BKO. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou.
Goodbye, Joe, me gotta go, me oh my oh. Me gotta go for the people down the bayou. My Yvonne, the sweetest one, me oh my oh. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou.
Jambalaya, coffee's pie, Billy Gumbo. 'Cause tonight I'm gonna see my share of meal. Hit guitar, filthy jar, and BKO. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Stand ready, go!
Settle down, far from town, get me a P-roll. And I'll catch all the fish in the bayou. Swap my money to buy Yvonne what she need, oh. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou.
Jambalaya, coffee's pie, Billy Gumbo. 'Cause tonight I'm gonna see my share of meal. Hit guitar, filthy jar, and BKO. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. East side, west side, all around the town. For the latest
And the smartest.
It's McAlpin's we have found.
Yes, McAlpin's all over town. It's 19 minutes after 9 o'clock, and we're having a little fun here today because from the shoe department of McAlpin's here at McAlpin's downtown store on 4th Street, they have sent up some Life Stride shoes. And I think they may have been afraid that I was going to give them away because they sent one great big one and one little bitty one. And I looked at that big one and it looked familiar because most of the girls I know have feet that big, you know. And Penny West, who is about 80 pounds of dynamite, who sings with the Lucky Pennies, has a little bitty foot. And the one little bitty shoe fits her perfectly, doesn't it, Penny?
Yes.
But either that other one is either too big or you're in it too far. I'm not too sure which.
It's the wrong shoe, that's all.
Oh, it's a left shoe. I see. They said no, it's a right shoe, and you have it on the left foot.
I have it on the left foot, though.
But look at the difference in the size of those. Those are Life Stride shoes, and this is called the Supreme Pump. And I think it's a beautiful shoe. You know, at McAlpin's, they have a terrific shoe department. If you haven't gotten acquainted with it, tell you how I found out about it. On my teenage show, which I talk about primarily the junior dress department and sportswear departments of McAlpin's, I never talk too much about the shoe department. And my wife is a shopper like the rest of you ladies, and she discovered the shoe department here at McAlpin's about 4 or 5 years ago, and she's always coming home with the best-looking shoes that she gets at McAlpin's. They have the shoes and the matching purses. I don't know what they call them exactly. It looks kind of like a red patent leather, that real shiny stuff. And they have the matching purses. It looks like it's a deep-looking color. You know the kind I mean? I can't think of it either, but they have those, and she has a pair of red like that and a pair of blue like that I think is just beautiful. But these are Life Stride shoes, and they give you the fit of your life. As a matter of fact, they guarantee this fit. If you buy a pair of Life Stride shoes and wear them for about a week or so, and then the fit doesn't feel right, you come on back to McAlpin's, and they'll be more than happy to exchange those and give you a pair that you feel will fit you better. That's how sure they are that when you buy a Life Stride shoe, the fit is perfect every time. They have the largest range and sizes in all of Greater Cincinnati, so regardless of what size foot you might have, and that's the reason they sent these up. I was just teasing before. This is a 4.5 double A, this little bitty shoe right here. Just for fun, Penny, let's see what size that is. That is a Greta Garbo size. It's an 11 Oh, that's the heel. Oh, and how narrow can you get? You know, got feet like a postcard, a long postcard.
That's the box that this one came in.
It does fit inside, but that's just to give you an example of the variety of sizes and wide range of sizes they have at McAlpin's in the shoe department.
East side, west side, come to McAlpin's.
It's Question of the Day time on the Good Morning Show, and we have a nice gift for one of you here today, an authentic reproduction of an original English bracket clock. It's the Sessions Duxbury clock. Would be very nice to have around the house, wouldn't it? Well, one of you will take that home today. The one of you who comes closest to getting correct the answer to our question of the day. We should have one about twins today, but we don't. We didn't anticipate this. According to figures, though, we go from one extreme to the other. According to figures compiled by the American Kennel Club, about how many cats do Americans have as pets? We had one about dogs last week, but today we're going to the kittens on the show. About how many cats do Americans have as pets? That includes all 50 states in the United States, and I can tell you this, it's in excess of 20 million. In excess of 20 million. I'll give you a little hint on that. Our answer was determined by This Week magazine on November the 3rd, 1963. So put your answer down on the paper while you're thinking about it, and incidentally, there are 6 zeros in a million, in case you don't know.
Churn gold, it's churn gold margarine time. Oh, the flavor's great and the price is right, so serve it all the time. Use it in your cooking and as a spread. It's the best thing that can happen to a slice of bread. Churn gold, it's churn gold margarine time.
Any time is churn gold time. You can't beat golden good churn gold spread on bread or rolls. Any time. And Churn Gold's rich, hearty flavor adds a special touch of goodness to everything you cook or bake, every time. Churn Gold margarine is made with golden corn oil, and still so economical you can use it all of the time. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, or snack time. Live better, more economically with Churn Gold margarine.
Churn Gold, it's Churn Gold margarine time.
It's 24 minutes after 9 o'clock at WLW Radio on a Friday afternoon. Quite a few of you here today celebrating anniversaries and birthdays. Mrs. Roger Moore of Howard Street in Ludlow, Kentucky, is celebrating her 24th wedding anniversary, and she's sitting next to a friend of mine I haven't seen for years. Hi, Mrs. Moore.
Hi. My my anniversary is really Monday, but my husband can't take me out on Monday. The only place we could go would be to see the new bridge open, so I'm celebrating from now on.
Well, you could take you out to dinner
right now.
Celebrate the whole weekend?
Right now, from now till Monday.
Mrs. Moore's Lost Weekend will be the title of this, huh?
Next year it'll be the 25th. Then it won't matter what day of the week it is. Then he'll take me out.
Then he'll take you
Today
out.
It could be any time.
Well, happy anniversary to you on your 24th anniversary, and in commemoration celebration of it, I'd like you to have some Maud Muller candy to start your celebration. Hi, Mrs. Bean. How are you?
Bob, how are you?
I'm fine. Haven't seen you for years.
No, it's been a long time. I was just wondering if you're going to name your next baby Glenna or Glenn.
Why?
Derry has a boy named Bobby and one Dougie and one Glenn.
Derry Bean is her daughter, a young lady I went to school with. She graduated from high school with me, as a matter of fact, from Ludlow High in 1947. That's been a long time ago. She had two boys, Doug and Rob, and then the third she named?
Glenn.
Glenn. Oh, boy. Are you listening, Regine? We've got a name in case we did before. Louise McDonald, where are you? Happy birthday to you, Louise. She said, it isn't yours, it's Mrs. Manning's birthday, the lady with you. Happy birthday to you, Mrs. Manning.
Thank you.
I'm glad you came down to celebrate with us, and we'd like you to have a gift certificate for some Maud Muller chocolate, too. They're all over the area. You be the judge. And Fred Stadler is with us today, and today is his wife's birthday. He mentioned on his card, he said, you're in a minority? Well, if you mean in numbers, Fred, but I need a little support, so I'm glad you're here today. Which of these lovely ladies is your wife? Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
We'd like you to have some Maud Muller chocolates to help celebrate your birthday. And Patricia Henley is here today, and she said, they all told me about your birthday. And your anniversary Saturday? I'll tell you what we'll do. We like the men to have something. And, Fred, there is no reflection of the manufacturer's name on your personality or anything, but from the gentleman's corner, we'd like you to have a pair of jerk socks from down there. You're quite welcome. And Cliff Offit is here. Where's Cliff? Mrs. Cliff Offit it is. Mrs. Offit? Is it Offit or Offut? Offit. Okay. It's O-F-F-U-T-T. It could be, you know. Not on it, but off it, right?
But yeah.
And you say you are celebrating your 23rd anniversary today, too?
Yeah,
We'd like you also to have some Maud Muller chocolates, and happy anniversary to you. Rosemary Bennett is here today, too. Where's Rosemary? And she's celebrating 16 years today, and you also belong to the Mother of Twins Club. How many children do you have to show for those 16 years?
4.
And one set of twins, of course.
Identical girls.
How old are they?
They'll be 3 Christmas Day.
What did you name them?
Pauline and Kathleen.
Twins on Christmas Day. Wow. Identical twins at that. Well, happy birthday to you. Happy anniversary, I beg your pardon. And happy birthday in advance to the kids, too. Penny, you might give them also, the ladies I gave their anniversaries and so forth, some good rainbow bread, too, if you like. Okay? It's your birthday on Saturday? Yeah. What's your name?
Carol McCarthy.
Well, that's tomorrow, isn't it? You'll be, I won't ask how old. Are you in the Twins Club, too?
Yes, I am. I have 5 children.
5? She looks like a teenager. How old are your children?
4, 3, 2, and the twins are 9 months.
Would you pay attention to this, ladies? This young lady is celebrating her birthday today, and she looks like she couldn't be... I knew you weren't 25 yet. She's 23 years old, and she has 5 children, 4... 3, 2, and the twins are?
9 months.
Boy, how many washers and dryers do you have at your house?
Just one.
Do you have any help to help with all these children?
No.
How do you manage all the things you must do in a day's time?
No, it's not quite so bad.
Isn't it really? You must have to plan your day pretty well.
Oh, I enjoy it.
A lot of changes going on at that house out there. Boy, you better believe that. Holy smoke. You know, she what?
You can have a dozen more.
She can?
Yeah, 23 years old.
She says you can have a dozen more. That thud you just heard was Rosemary fainting back there. You wouldn't wish that on her, would you?
No, sir.
How many children do you have?
I only had 2 girls.
Oh, yeah, see, it's easy for you to say that. I think
I already have 7 grandchildren.
Well, somebody else is doing the work for you.
Yes.
How do you feel about those grandchildren?
Fine. Oh, I wouldn't miss them.
You see them all the time, do you?
Oh, yes, a couple of times a week.
Do you babysit with them?
Sure, if it wasn't for Grandma, where could they go?
Isn't that the truth? You know, you kept up my average because every day on this show we have had someone, and I believe you must be of German
yes, sir.
descent, are you not?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been over here?
Since 25.
19 and 25, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I met a very charming young lady yesterday who was working as a hostess at the Old Vienna restaurant for Al Mathis, and she has been here just about 3 months, and in that time has learned to speak English, and her name is Trauder Baumlichberger, which means tree on the hill. Trauter Baumlichberger, and she's a lovely girl, and she's going to come down and be my guest on the show and explain Wiener Schnitzel to all of us one day. She's really cute, and she's just been over here 3 months, and she has a fiancé who is just about to graduate from a college of engineering in Germany, and she is coming over to this country, and when she comes over here, we're going to have them both on the air. But her name is Trauter Baumlichberger. Oh, my God, what in heaven is my grandma? Yeah, that's what my grandmother Brown used to say all the time. My guten what?
My guten Himmel.
Oh, my guten Himmel. There you go. How long has it been since you went out and had some good German cooking?
Oh, I do it all the time at home.
You cook all the time?
Sure.
I just wonder if you'd like maybe to have a treat where you could go to a real authentic old German-style restaurant and not have to fix it yourself. Would you like to do that?
Oh, I should say I would.
I think it might be a good idea if I send you, and you may take along a friend, and
I got a husband.
You got a husband? Well, you know, I always hesitate to say that because sometimes, unfortunately, some of the ladies who come to our show are widows, but you and your husband may go to the old Vienna restaurant and have dinner on me. Would you like to do that?
I thank you, by sure.
Ja, das was Vienna! Yeah! Jawohl! Yeah! A lot of interesting things on the cards, and we're going to play High Neighbor Time right about here and now on the Good Morning Show and present to someone a very nice prize. But before we get to that, let's put the accent on this.
A cup of black coffee, please. Me too, please. Phew, it's good to rest. Shopping is murder. Oh, yes. Say, what are you planning for dinner tonight, Millicent? A pot roast casserole topped with hot biscuits and seasoned with accent. I feel very snug about it.
Oh, how so?
Because it's made of leftover pot roast vegetables and gravy. But Pete won't know the difference.
Does he growl about leftovers, too?
Uh-huh. But not tonight. Not with accent.
Oh, accent's a real flavor reviver for cooked foods, isn't it? Boy, how it perks up their original fresh flavors.
Sure does. How did we ever cook without accent?
Accent brings out all the full, natural flavor of food as no other type of seasoning can. For leftover casseroles, 3/4 teaspoon of Accent per quart does wonders. Buy the red package of Accent. When you want flavor, you need Accent. What good cook would be without it?
We have a very nice gift from Accent that we've been giving away each day during the month of November on the Good Morning Show. It's a 3-shaker set, 1 for salt, 1 for pepper, and 1 for Accent. One of you here today will get one of those as a prize, and the Accent shaker is filled with Accent. It's High Neighbor Time, fellas, so let's say...
High neighbor, high neighbor.
It's time for us to salute one of our good neighbors at home, and today we salute someone pretty far off from Cincinnati, Mrs. D.J. Tierney of 1912 Dodge Avenue, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Our good neighbor at the show is number 30. Who has number 30? 30. 30. Does it belong to one of the children? Somebody must have number 30. 30. Number 30, the little plastic number you received as you came in. Number 30.
Somebody snuck in.
Either that or somebody snuck out, as you say. Number 30. Somebody must have it. Number 30. By George, we must have skipped that one today then. Let's dig down a little farther then and see if we can draw another number. Who has number 46? 46. Lady in red, come on down. Oh, the lady in red. Everybody's crazy about the lady. Wonder what happened to number 30. The big mystery of the day. What happened to number 30 on the Good Morning Show? Here comes a lady, though, who is going to be our good neighbor this morning. She has number 46. Good morning to you.
Hello.
What's your name?
It's Mercedes Legaly.
Mercedes Legaly.
Legaly.
Legaly. Boy, that's a mouthful. Mercedes Legaly.
That's right.
What descent would that be? Where does that name come from? What expression?
France.
Oh, it's a French name.
Mm-hmm.
The girl named Mercedes McCambridge has the same name, but she pronounces it differently, doesn't she? Yours is Mercedes.
Mercedes.
Like in a Benz car, huh? Mercedes
That's right.
Benz. You drive one, do you?
No, I don't.
I hope you drive a Ford, because that's what I sell on the Good Morning Show. Where are you from?
Price Hill.
Are you with the twins group?
Mothers of twins.
Are you a mother of twins?
Yes, I am.
How many children have you?
6.
Wow. Just one set of twins?
Yes.
How old are your children?
Well, I have the oldest one is a son, 22, and the youngest are the twins.
And how old are they?
11.
I bet it's been a lot of fun, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
How did you happen to get into the twins club?
Well, it was started, and then I was, some woman knew my husband, and so she called one day, and
Ask if you'd like
Ask
to get
if I'd
in
like to
involved.
join it. And I thought, yes, I would.
Were you a little surprised at the fact that there were that many people in your own area there who were parents of twins?
That's true. You don't really know until you meet them,
In these meetings you have, are you able to get some new ideas from one another as to how to better care for them and to raise them and to solve certain problems?
Well, I think we do, although it's a little late for me because mine are older.
Yeah, they're 11 and the big problem is over.
Yeah.
Well, what was the worst of the thing? Was it when they were real little and you tried to keep them both dry simultaneously and fed at the same time and napped and everything like that? Was that the hardest part?
I would say so. Mine were never quiet. They cried day and night.
Both at the same time?
Both at the same time.
Did they cry alike or did one cry high and one cry low?
No, it sounded like it was continuously and alike.
Oh, boy. I lived next door to a lady who had twins, and they knew when she was about, I guess, 6 or 7 months, they knew that they were going to have twins. And the funny part about it, not funny really, but the ironic part about it was that they had had one child, and they had been married 13 years, and they wanted another child, and they had thought perhaps of adopting one. And just as they were about to place their papers and begin the process, she became pregnant, and then they wound up having twins. And we, although we didn't have them, we had firsthand experience of that first year in their lives of watching the problems which did happen with them. If one would be quiet, the other would cry. If one would cry, the other would be quiet. You never can really get them both doing the same thing at the same time. Isn't that right?
It's true.
I wonder if we're going to have twins, man.
I don't know.
I'm getting more scared by the minute, It's too late to do anything about it now, though, isn't it?
I thought of one bright thought, though.
What's that,
It's
Fanny?
kind of a happy outlook for these ladies who only have twins.
Why?
Think that Mrs. Johnson had 5.
Oh, yeah, my goodness, has to live in that new house and use that new car and all those gifts she got. That's terrible. Yeah, all that thing. I'm only teasing about that. I think it's wonderful what they have done for those people because this is really a tremendous thing. But I do, and I say this without reservation, I do feel sorry for those children. Not for their parents, because this is a gift from God. They had no control over it. But it's a difficult thing to raise a child these days. Twins add to the problem, and triplets multiply that. But if you have 4 or 5 such as that lady, can you imagine the problems those kids will have all their lives? They'll live in a goldfish bowl. They never will really be able to develop into individuals without people saying, oh, you're one of the 5. This is a difficult thing to raise children under those conditions, don't you think?
I believe so. I agree.
Like the Dion quintuplets, they never had a chance, really.
No, they didn't.
And these kids, I hope that the people are kind enough, and I admire that mother. She said, I do not want my children to be on display.
I agree with her, too. I think that would be, it's better for the children, else they can't be normal.
Yeah, that's very true. We better get on with our High Neighbor quiz, because Mrs. Tierney and you are going to win something very nice today. Wow, is that what this is? Transistor radio? Need a radio?
Yes, I could use one.
Well, you're about to win a Sylvania transistor radio. Hold on to it. That'll bring you luck when I ask you these questions. If you get 5 of 7 correct, you'll win that. Plus, Mrs. Tierney in Fort Wayne, Indiana, your good neighbor today, will also win one just like yours. Number 1. Now, this is our day to be catty on the show, as I said before, because our good neighbor game has to do with cats, too. All you have to do is select the best answer to each question from the 3 choices I give you. Number 1. 3 little kittens lost their... What did they lose? Their
mitten.
All right, number 2. A few years ago, there was a cat who was popular in cartoons and comics. Was his name Charlie, Felix, or Francis?
Felix.
That's right, don't hesitate. Number 3. There's a well-known piano solo about a cat. Is it called Kitten on the Keys, Cat's Concerto, Feline Fantasia, or Alley Cat?
Alley Cat.
Alley Cat is right. Number 4. What was the name of the cat in the fairy tale who put on the 7-league boots? Was it Kitty Foyle, Puss in Boots, or Matt the Cat?
Puss in Boots.
You're right. Number 5. In the story Alice in Wonderland, Alice met up with a grinning cat. Was it the Cheshire Cat, Mr. Sardonicus, where did we get this, or the Smiling Siamese?
Chessie Cat.
You're right, the Chessie Cat. She's gotten all 5 right. There you go. Congratulations. You don't have to give me the radio back. You just go on and take it. It is yours, and one will be in the mail to Mrs. D.J. Tierney of 1912 Dodge Avenue in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Don't forget, if you'd like to play Good Neighbor on the show, it won't cost you a thing. All you need to do is send me your name and address on a postcard to Bob Braun, WLW Radio, Cincinnati 2, Ohio. If yours is used on the air, you'll be the winner of our Good Neighbor prize of the day, which could be a watch, a radio, or many of the fine prizes we have to give away each day on the Good Morning Show.
time to smile and say hi.
I read on a card from Mrs. Herbert Day of Walton, Kentucky, that she worked for the Model Food Store in Walton, Kentucky, which is a white villa store. She worked there for 16 years. Mrs. Day, where are you? Nice to have you here today. Is that store still open in Walton?
It certainly is.
And I hope you still go over there and shop.
I certainly do.
What's the man's name who owns the store?
Well, Mr. Charles Prather is the manager of the store.
He's manager of the White Villa Market in Walton.
Walton, Kentucky.
And it's called the Model Food
Model
Store.
Food Store, yes, sir.
How do you feel about the White Villa store?
Well, I think it's top.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that, and I do too, because they are independent groceries. That's one thing. The White Villa products we talk about on the show and encourage you to buy actually are made by big manufacturers of fine canned foods. And the White Villa on the label means that they are purchased in the group by these men who belong to this group in the White Villa store. These are not chain stores. These are independent grocers who have banded together to increase their buying power. That way they can have their own label. White Villa, for example, the green beans, the cranberry sauce I mentioned before, the White Villa coffee. All those products are purchased by this group so that the men can give you quality products at a price, and thereby they can compete with the chain stores. Plus, they can give you that individual service. That's what counts, right? You walk in, they say, "Sally, you haven't been here for a couple of days. How's the kids?" You know, they know you, right? And another thing, too, it happens once in a while to all of us. If you're in a pinch, he's the guy who will be more apt to help you out, right? And if something is not exactly what you think it will be, bring it back and you got another one. That's right. White Villa, the neighborhood independent stores. And don't forget, you have just a couple of more weeks to get into the Imperial Sweepstakes and take your opportunity of winning that trip for two by way of Alitalia Airlines over to Europe for 21 full days. I'll give you more details about that later on. Like bringing coals to Newcastle, but there you have some White Villa beans and cranberry sauce, and we'll give her some good rainbow bread, too. Penny, thank you for being on the Good Morning Show, Mrs. Day, and good luck to the Model Food Store in Walton, Kentucky, a White Villa store, right?
Quality's there, variety to spare. Buy White Villa, famous food.
I was talking to that lady from Walton, Kentucky, I suppose at the same table as Mrs. Sue Gibson. Where's Mrs. Gibson? She has something interesting on her card. She said, "I got up at 4 a.m., helped milk 20 cows, got a husband ready to drive a billy goat wagon, and delivered 2 children to grandmas." I had to look on the other side of the page for grandma there. I wondered what was that. She said, "I delivered 2 children to grandmas." Yeah, that's all right.
A billy goat wagon.
Yeah, Billy, you
that
have
means
those.
a kid hack, doesn't it?
What?
A kid hack. That's what we called them in Indiana.
What, kid hacks?
Yeah. No.
Billy goat wagon.
Yeah,
What's your husband doing driving a billy goat wagon? What's it, a school bus? And on that sorrowful note, we pause for station identification.
There'll be a short pause for a just cause, and then we'll go on with the show. After a station identification on WLW Radio.
Where is that?
Cincinnati, Ohio. Things go better with Coca-Cola. Things go better with Coke. Fun and food and you go better with things go better with Coke.
And now we made that station break 12 minutes late. It's 18 or 17, make it 17 and a half. It's pretty close to 10 o'clock, as a matter of fact, here on the Good Morning Show today. And I hope you're enjoying yourself on WLW Radio. May I take just a moment, a little word about tickets to the show. We've had so many people calling and asking, when am I going to get my tickets? Everyone who has written for tickets will get them. And if you haven't written for tickets, do, and you will get them. We are going to increase the number of tickets we send out every day, so that way you won't have to wait quite so long. So if you'd like to send for tickets, all you need to do is send me your name and address and the number of tickets you'd like to request. Now, if you have a club, you can send in for the whole club if you like. Or if you're just by yourself and want to come to the show, you're more than welcome, and we'd like to have you. Just send your name and address to me, Bob Braun, WLW Radio. Put tickets on the front of the envelope. Tell me how many you'd like to have. We can't give you specific dates, but we will get them to you as soon as possible. Now, you'll get a postcard after you've sent to us, which will tell you what date your tickets will be for. Then a couple of weeks before that date, you'll get your tickets. That way you won't take a chance of losing them. We let you know you're going to get them, and then we send the tickets a couple of weeks ahead of time. That way they won't get misplaced, and we know you'll be here. Wouldn't it be funny some morning we walk in and nobody here but me and the waitresses at the show? Speaking of the waitresses, did you enjoy your coffee this morning? Very good. Good. Thank you. It is a little strange that we serve coffee in a tea room, but they also sell tea here, too, at regular luncheon and for the candlelight suppers. The Danish pastry, did you enjoy that? Wasn't that good? We've had so many people asking about that. That's made here at McAlpin's in our own bake shop, and those Danish pastries, which we give to you each morning as our courtesy brunch, are on sale at the bake shop on the first floor of McAlpin's downtown. So if you like them and want to take some home, now you know where to get them, all right? And incidentally, if you're coming to the show, you do get a courtesy brunch free, which consists of coffee and Danish pastry, and the kids get milk and lollipops, and all the kids who come to the show also get something extra nice, and I'm just telling this for the benefit of the mothers listening at home, and that's Highlights Magazine. You mothers of twins here today, this magazine, the Fun for Children magazine, is one of the best things that our kids have ever had in our house, and I liked it so well, I called them and asked them if they wouldn't give them away here on the show. So all the children here today should have gotten one. If not, we'll be sure that they do get one, and it's Highlights for Children, Fun with a Purpose. It's printed up in Columbus, Ohio. It's a real good magazine. What are you holding the bread for, Penny?
I'm just waiting, Bob.
Just waiting. You know, this little doll here follows me around in my back pocket down here on the Good Morning Show, and I don't know what I'd do without her. That's true, because Penny plays bass with the Lucky Pennies. She sings, and she also acts as my assistant 3 days of the week, helps me pass out the bread, and whatever I ask for, I turn around and Penny's already got it, you know, like the bread right now. Why don't you do a commercial for Rainbow, Penny?
Well, actually, Bob, it wouldn't be a rough job. You know that.
Right.
Rainbow sells itself.
Well, that's what Bud Gettner over there said. He says, you don't have to tell anybody about Rainbow. Just say Rainbow. That's all I want. It's good bread. It sells itself because once you buy it, you don't use any other kind of bread. It's fresh when you buy it. And at quality-conscious groceries everywhere, you'll find he has Rainbow on the shelf. They don't fluff it and buff it and beat it and bake it on the end, put it in the oven, take it out for a while, turn it over and bake it on that side for a while. Nor do they use any shortcut methods or types of dough to make this or flour to make this. It's made the good old-fashioned way. And the people for whom you make sandwiches will be mighty, mighty happy that you used Rainbow bread in making it. Now, on Thanksgiving, if you're going to have a turkey and make dressing, this bread is so fresh when you buy it. If you like your bread a little stale when you make dressing, leave it out overnight, because Rainbow bread, when you buy it at the store, is really fresh. But if you leave it out a little bit and let it get a little stale and then toast it before you make it, it makes the best tasting dressing you have ever made. Rainbow bread, it's good bread in the King Thin, which is their sandwich loaf, or the regular old-fashioned kind, Rainbow. Penny, I'll relieve you of your Coca-Cola coupons and your Rainbow bread right here, and I'll give you my microphone, and I want to hear from you, okay?
Fine.
What would you like to sing for us today?
How about your cheating heart?
Thanks a lot, Penny. You've done nothing but insult me since we got on the air today.
Really, the name of a song, Bob. Your cheating heart will make you weep. You cry and cry and try to sleep, but sleep won't come the whole night through. Your cheating heart will tell on you when tears come down like falling rain. You toss around and call my name. You walk the floor the way I do. Your cheating heart will tell on you.
Penny West with the Lucky Penny. Very fine, Penny. How about tomorrow or on Monday's show, actually? Are you going to do Bill Albert's song for him?
Anytime.
Good, do it tomorrow.
All right, I'll
it's
do it tomorrow.
Monday, I should say, on the Good Morning Show. I hope you heard that day. We had Large Bill down here, and Penny sang the song Bill wrote. And we've had a lot of mail, and I talked to Bill last night, and he heard me mention that you were going to do it again, and he's all excited about it. Will you
Fine.
do it? Okay, that'll be...
Nice fellow.
He sure is. On Monday show, Big Bill Albert's song will be sung again by Penny. You know what I did? We got a thing going from Grippo potato chips, and I talk so much about them, and you people who listen to me have been so kind and bought so many that I don't have any to give away today. I kind of messed you up, really, because we like on the days we talk about Grippo to give everybody a complimentary bag of Grippo potato chips, and let me tell you what happened. They have a special on right now. First of all, when you buy any Grippo products, you'll see across the top, recommended by Bob Braun, and I don't just toss my name on products like that loosely because you kind of put your reputation on the line when you do, and we like to talk about things which are good for you and which are good. And in my opinion, you can't buy a better potato chip or pretzel than Grippo. This is true. And if you've ever tried these and compared them with any other you may be using now, you got to agree with me that Grippo is the best you can buy. They're not as greasy as other potato chips are, and you can take that finger test by opening them, put the potato chip between your fingers, you get a little salt on there, but no grease. Grippo. And here's the thing they have. First of all, they put our name across the top and a picture on there, and secondly, inside all the bags of Grippo pretzels and other products from Grippo, they have a coupon, good for 20 cents off, when you buy the 1 pound, 4-pack, this is an exclusive package of Grippo at your store. And so many people have bought these that they don't have enough to send down for us to give away. But I thank you for it, and they tell me that next week they will have, and by all means, if you're shopping this weekend, look for the name of Grippo and get them. Anybody here have a wedding happening in the family soon? Anybody? You have a wedding happening in your family. Who, when, and where?
My daughter, she's being married March the 21st.
March the 21st. And how about you? Will you and your husband be going?
Well, I hope so.
Well, I hope so, too. I hope so, too. Do you have a tuxedo? Not you. Does your husband have a tuxedo?
Yes, he does.
Oh, shucks. He has his own? Well, she's so wealthy she doesn't need it. How about the groom? Does he need one?
Yes.
He does need one? Well, we finally found one. The reason I ask, you see, is I have a sponsor who has a rental agency for tuxedos, and their name is Do Chili's. It's Duccillis. Hard to spell and hard to say, but it's good to know. Do Chili's are located at 5222 Montgomery Road in Norwood, and he knows his attire for formal occasions, and he'd be more than happy to give the groom for use at his wedding his tuxedo if I give you the gift certificate. Do you think he'd like to have it?
Probably would.
What's your daughter's name?
Mary.
And who's Mary Rush? Who's Mary marrying?
Peter Mueller.
Peter Mueller. From where?
From Binghamton, New York.
From Binghamton. Well, he'll be coming in from New York for the wedding then, won't he? Well, that'll make it even more convenient. Or is she going up there?
No, they're going to be married in Buffalo, New York.
In Buffalo. I think we got a problem here, don't you? Well, I guess that would be a little difficult to give him one to take up to there, although I'd love to. You have somebody marrying in your family when? April the 20th? Good. I'd love to give you one for that, but that's kind of impossible up that far. It would be a little rough for that.
I can have some rainbow bread, though.
All right, very good. What's your name?
Phyllis Walsing.
Who's your brother-in-law marrying?
William Walsing.
Well, let's give him the certificate then. He can get free rental from Do Chili's for his tuxedo with that, okay? And good luck to Mary and to Peter when they're married up there. I wish I had a... What? Yeah, very, very good, very good. There's a lady here who wrote, she said, I brought my aunt and mother, both of whom have been married 55 years, and both are getting over broken hips and legs. Where are they? Huh? Where? Right over here. Let's meet the two of them. We're kind of lucky you made it down here today, aren't we? Hi. What's your name?
Mrs. Woodward.
And how did you break your hip and your leg?
Oh, I was going to church and broke it. Fell down, stepped in one of these, I call it the Red River Valley. You know, they have alongside the sidewalk, dig out the grass.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. And you're the other lady. How are you feeling these days?
Fine.
How'd you break yours?
Oh, I'm delivering we exchanged magazines, my neighbor and I was carrying a magazine over to her.
And there you go.
For dinner, and I fell down, broke my ankle.
Well, we're glad to see you both up and kicking again at the Good Morning Show today. Thank you for coming down today, and I hope you're enjoying yourself. We want all of you to sing along now and enjoy yourselves today. And don't forget, Do Chili's is at 5222 Montgomery Road. I didn't mention that before, and I do want to do that. And sing-along time. Penny, let's get up there and get your bass and get ready for sing-along time. All of you get your words out, and while you do, promise me you'll try Stegner Chili Con Carne and put this on your shopping list for the weekend. As we've been telling you all this week about Stegner's, this is not an item that you go in and buy a can of to have for lunch. Of course, with the Mother's Club here today of the Twins out there in the Western Hills area, you don't buy one can of anything, do you? But with Stegner's Chili Con Carne with the beans, you'll find these have the red, rich, plump beans and good meat in there and the exact amount of seasoning so you can just open a can and prepare it. With crackers, it will delight in the wintertime, anytime. Stegner's Chili Con Carne. Don't buy just a can of this. This is the kind of thing you put on your encased shelf, always have ready to enjoy. It's made by Stegner's, made right here in Cincinnati. It's kind of a tradition around the Queen City and in your area, too, wherever you are listening to WLW Radio. Look for the blue can with the big Stegner's Chili Con Carne. Enjoy it early and often. It's mighty good. What are we singing today, Dean?
Let's all sing like the birdies sing. Let's all sing like the birdies sing. Tweet, 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 tweet. Let's all sing like the birdies sing. Tweet, 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 tweet.
Our lady from Germany.
Last week the program went to the dogs, this week the cats, and now it's for the birds.
Yeah, they're all right, Penny. She's keeping up, Dean. I don't know about this woman of yours. Now we're going to have to look out for her. I told you earlier today that we were going to have a little something about White Villa today, and that the fact that this was the last week I could mention it, and I would like to take a second here to remind you that the Imperial Sweepstakes will be coming to a close on December the 7th. So if you haven't gotten into that, now's the time. As I've been trying to impress upon you, this is not a national contest. This is a local contest for those radio listening area. Now here's what the prizes are. They're going to give 2 trips for 2 to Europe by way of Alitalia Airlines DC Jet 8, or DC-8 Jet. I got that right, fine. Hope they don't get the jet wrong when you take off. But anyhow, you'll be going to Europe for 21 full days to Paris, to Rome, all over the Mediterranean. You'll really enjoy this terrific trip. Plus, there will be 20 second prizes of weekends for 2 at the Imperial House Motel in Dayton, Ohio. Plus, there are other third, fourth, and so on prizes, Lionel trains. They have appliances for home. It's a real good deal. All you need to do is put your name and address on the back of a label of any White Villa product or Honey Grove product. Send that to me, to Bob Braun, WLW Radio, Cincinnati 2, Ohio, and send as many as you like. Every time you send a label, that's one more chance you have to win. But send early and often, and don't forget to do it right now to the Imperial Sweepstakes, and send yours in right now. Yes, ma'am?
A bunch of them at once?
Yes, ma'am, and each counts as an individual entry. Yes, ma'am, you may put them all in a big envelope and send them to me if you like. Question of the day, answer time coming up, and we'll find out who the winner is. We'll have to do Stump the Band on Monday because we just ran out of time today, but we'll do that on Monday on the show. I know you're wondering who the winner's going to be, and while you think whether you're going to win that Sessions clock, a word from McAlpin's about something real cute. We have a lot of little girls here today, and it's a good day to talk about these. These are called policeman-type dresses. They look like the ones the big men wear. My Friend the Policeman dresses. They're made by a company, makers of little girls' clothes, called Love. And loving care was put there to make these. Each of them is made in the manner of a police uniform of some country. And all the buttons are kind of authentic looking on there. They're in red, white, and blue. They look like a little policeman's dress made by Love, which to me is kind of a nice name for little girls' dresses anyhow. You'll find these in the children's department in sizes 7 to 12 for just $7.99 and $8.99. McAlpin's would be glad to take your order by phone. You can send your choice of these darling styles out to you. You can look them over if you like. You can call downtown at Dunbar 14400. Ask for the children's department and ask about the dresses you heard Bob Braun talk about on radio. If I had a little girl, she'd have to have one of these. They're little my friend policeman dresses, they call them, and they're made by Love. Isn't that tender? Huh? Yes. Well, that's the manufacturer's name, sure. The winner today, and she got the question of the day right smack dab on the nose. According to figures compiled by the American Kennel Club, there are 28 million cats in the United States. And Elisa Johnson got the question right on the nose. Elisa, congratulations to you. You've won the Duxbury clock. We have some other gifts that we'll be presenting after we get off the air today, and I know that we'll have those to some very nice people here. One final word before we say goodbye, and this is the motto of the Mothers of Twins Club from the Western Hills area. It's the only club in the world in which God chooses the membership. Until Monday, Bob Braun, good morning.
WLW Radio, the home of Cincinnati Royals basketball, and this is Ed Kennedy, your play-by-play commentator, inviting you to join us tonight on this station for the NBA game between the Royals and the Detroit Pistons. Charlie Wolf, now coaching the Pistons, will be bringing in a squad of All-Americans, led by Bailey Howell. We'll be at the mic and hope you'll be at your radio tuned to WLW.
Time is 8:30 tonight on WLW Radio Cincinnati. It's now 10 o'clock a.m.
NBC Radio News on the Hour, brought to you by Bayer Aspirin for fast relief from headache, muscular pains, or fever of a cold. Now here is Russ Ward, NBC News.
President Kennedy, in his second day of speechmaking in Texas, is defending the TFX warplane as a powerful force of freedom. We'll have a report from Texas coming up. South Vietnam's Revolutionary Council has dismissed 31 high-ranking military officers for an indefinite period while investigations are made into their activities during the Diem regime. French officials are quoted today as saying that the de Gaulle government would give sympathetic consideration to economic and military aid for Cambodia. Cambodian Prince Norodom Sihanouk reportedly has said France is the most capable power to represent the Western world in that part of Asia. There has been no official request for help, however. 9 South Koreans have been killed and 9 others injured as they were gathering scrap metal on a U.S. firing range north of Seoul. The victims died when an Honest John rocket landed in the area. An Army spokesman said the South Koreans had been warned of danger on the firing range, that they were trespassing when the tragedy occurred. By a margin of more than 100 to 1, delegates to the Roman Catholic Ecumenical Council have given final approval to the use of modern languages instead of Latin in most forms of church worship. This is the first definitive action by the Council. That report on the President and other news after this from Bayer Aspirin.
Did you know that the average American has 3 or more colds a year? If you should come down with the pains or fever of a cold or flu during this cold and flu season, remember this: to feel better fast, Bayer Aspirin is the kind of pain reliever doctors recommend. Reporting on a government-financed study of 5 leading pain relievers, an article in the Journal of the American Medical Association showed that Bayer Aspirin was unsurpassed by any of them for speed and strength of relief. The report also showed that Bayer Aspirin was as gentle to the stomach as any product tested, including the higher-priced Buffered product. On the other hand, the 2 combination of ingredients products tested upset the stomach considerably more often. So for fast, strong relief from the pains and fever of a cold or flu, and especially if certain combination of ingredients products upset your stomach, try Bayer Aspirin.
For your youngsters, get Bayer Aspirin for children with its new orange flavor.
Here again, Russ Ward.
President Kennedy has opened the second day of his political swing through Texas. The story from NBC's Robert McNeil with the presidential party in Fort Worth.
President Kennedy is beginning the day with a defense of the controversial TFX fighter plane. He's telling a breakfast audience in Fort Worth right now that there's been a good deal of discussion of the competition to win the TFX contract, but relatively little discussion of what this revolutionary plane will do. The president has also just spoken to a crowd of several thousand standing outside in the rain. He's now preparing to move on to Dallas for a major lunchtime speech on the theme of American strength. Police in Dallas have mounted the biggest security operation in their history to prevent any repetition of the demonstrations which marked the visit of UN Ambassador Adlai Stevenson last month. Although Texas newspapers are much preoccupied with Democratic Party feuding behind the glamour of the occasion, it has not detracted from the Kennedys' popular success. Robert McNeil, NBC News, with the presidential party in Fort Worth.
French President de Gaulle and West Germany's new Chancellor Erhard have ended 2 days of talks in Paris with a reaffirmation of the French-West German Treaty of Cooperation signed last January. The two men called for, quote, all necessary efforts to solve the problems of the European common market. No progress was reported on questions of nuclear defense for Western Europe. Today, incidentally, is the 73rd birthday of President de Gaulle. He has asked that there be no public ceremony. Another birthday of note, John Nance Garner, 95 today. He's being honored in his hometown of Uvalde, Texas, with a farm and ranch show. Russ Ward, NBC News, Washington.
Now's a good time to see your Chevrolet dealer and ask about a Smile Mile. He's proudly displaying 5 entirely different kinds of exciting new cars for '64. Corvair, Corvette, Chevy 2, Chevelle, and Chevrolet. And don't forget to ask about the Chevrolet Songbook, with the words to more than 100 of the great old favorites. Come in soon. Ask your Chevrolet dealer about the Chevrolet Songbook, and ask about a Smile Mile.
This has been NBC News on the Hour. Listen again on the hour for NBC Radio News, brought to you by Chevrolet, for Chevrolet dealers everywhere. James Daly is one of Monitor's weekend hosts on the NBC Radio Network.
Yesterday, boys in trouble with the law, with society, at home with themselves. Today, the same boys, more than 200 of them, good citizens, thanks to the chance they received at Star Commonwealth for Boys, and your generous support of Star's program. Today's boys in trouble are tomorrow's good citizens, thanks to Star's new on-campus school and complete treatment program. For the first time, for some of them, the 32 boys now at Star Commonwealth in Van Wert, Ohio, are receiving personal attention, love, and understanding. Star's 3 key words in the program for combating juvenile delinquency. Skilled professional help from trained instructors, psychiatrists, psychologists, and cottage parents are all part of the treatment program at Star Commonwealth. Thanks for your contributions that are giving these boys a chance, as you helped give 200 former Star boys a chance to become good citizens. 6 minutes past 10 o'clock. This is WLW Radio, Cincinnati.
This is Robert Goralski, NBC News, Washington, with Emphasis Viewpoint. The Bobby Baker Trail, a path of frustration. I'll be back with that comment on People and the Times in a moment.
Look for the spear and get chewing enjoyment. Look for the spear, get Wrigley's. Fresh, strong, lively, long-lasting too. You'll say Wrigley's is great to chew. Look for the spear and get chewing enjoyment.
With the biggest little treat in all the land.
Get the package with the spear and you'll know enjoyment's here. Be sure it's Wrigley's gum.
Friends, when you're at the store, get the biggest little treat in all the land, Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. To be sure of getting the original Wrigley Spearmint, look for the spear. Anyone can use the word spearmint, but only Wrigley's can use the spear on the package. Some people call it a spear, some call it an arrow. Whichever you call it, it's the Wrigley trademark, your assurance of real chewing enjoyment.
Get the package with the spear and you'll know enjoyment here. Be sure it's Wrigley's gum.
Robert Goralski, Emphasis Viewpoint. It's now estimated that more than 100 newsmen are more or less on the trail of Bobby Baker. There are, in addition, scores of FBI agents, staff members of the Senate Rules Committee, and a host of other government investigators also searching for material on the activities of the former Senate Majority Secretary. Now, what the government inquiries are producing will come out gradually, if not sensationally. Space and time afforded the Baker story and the mass media reveal what the newsmen have collected. But how does one come about information pertinent to Baker? It's not easy, and it's mostly frustrating. Several weeks ago, you're told by your news chief, forget about your other assignments, you're to spend all your time covering Bobby Baker. What do? To familiarize yourself with what's known at present, you first practice a form of journalistic plagiarism, what scholars would call contemporary research, and clip out everything that's been written about Bobby Baker. This accomplished, you try to talk to the principal himself. But you learn readily that Bobby Baker isn't talking to anyone but his lawyers, and his lawyers won't let him talk to you. Further, one gets the impression that Baker's legal advisors would hope that anyone who ever knew Baker would also shut up. But they don't. Some are willing to talk to newsmen. You try to find out what persons with any knowledge of Baker, his business activities, and the like. You find a few who might contribute something and are willing to talk about it. But only a few. Many just aren't around anymore. They may have moved out of the city a long time ago, and you don't know where to find them. So you're content with those old friends and associates who will talk. But you find your sleuthing isn't exclusive. If another newsman has tapped your source already, you might still pick up further information or be led to others who can tell you more. But most of the time, you find that the FBI has been there before you. But this isn't too bad, however. Unless the FBI agents have told a source not to talk to newsmen, the person being questioned will generally tell what the FBI was interested in, what their line of questioning was. If they asked your contact about specific names, you try to find out why they were interested and go out and talk to them yourself. The person hushed up by the FBI is obviously a good start on a new trail. Now, what was it that person knew that the FBI felt important enough to impose silence? So you're led to friends and associates of that new source. When you get there, you may or may not beat the FBI or your competitors. All this suggests it would be much easier if the various newsmen and investigators merely got together once a week and pooled their information. As it is now, weeks of pavement pounding and research may only reveal one or two exclusive items. But the rest of the time, it's pure frustration. But this, in essence, is the essence of news gathering. Robert Gorelski, NBC News, Washington.
Here's a thought for Thanksgiving.
Have a heart-to-heart thought with the one you love, that special someone you're thinking of. Send flowers by wire, it's easy to do through the STD florist nearest you.
The Thanksgiving special at $7.50 is only one of 26 arrangements in the new Florist Telegraph Delivery Selection Guide, available at your FTD florist.
This is Richard Harkness, Emphasis, Washington, reminding you that Emphasis is heard 8 times daily, Monday through Friday, another sound of the 60s on this NBC station.
This NBC station is WLW Radio Cincinnati at 11 minutes and 17 seconds after 10 o'clock, where we say good morning